We're live. Hello, welcome everybody tuning in right now. It's MNSPC Grand Finals. No one cares. No one cares. We're being like so. Oh no. Yeah, I think so.
What's your hand?
Oh my god. No, wait, no. No, that was the earlier one. Now my next one. Oh.
Hello, we're just waiting for one more person. The person is in the toilet right now. Okay, another thing is it possible for you guys not to sit on the floor? Thank you so much. Okay, Christina, you can start.
Yeah. Anything that you see that people has it.
Okay, so welcome everyone to the Open Grand Finals of MNSPC 2019. So I'm your chair, Christina, and paneling with me are Ben, Danish, Gelson, Fred, Hannah, Iman, Khalif, Naja, Pufi, and Sharifa. So on site government, we have DJ PKM and on site opposition, we have KTJ. So before I begin, I would like to remind everyone to keep their talking down to a minimum and put your phones on silent. So here to debate the motion, this House supports a global ban on conscription. I would now like to invite PM here.
Hello. I think when you create conscriptions towards these countries, towards these nations, I think it's very harmful in the end of the day when you harm your own citizens in the first place. Before that, several characterizations, right? So what does conscription look like? One, I think these are drafts that make British citizens, they are compulsory to serve in a military service. And two, I think these are normally, they do their service in either A, I think like duty at seashores or maybe in coastal lines, or B, or maybe servicing their country in a war compulsory. I think what side government comes here and proposes to you is about a global ban. I think this ban is about banning countries globally that are trying to create this conscription in their own national right. So what's the stance coming from side government? Our stance is very simple. We want to create a world where citizens of a country, they live happily and so. So I'll bring to you two arguments today. Firstly, on why is this method of conscription is morally wrong, and number two is about how you brainwash a citizen to become nationalistic, and I think that's very harmful at the end of the day. Firstly, about why is it morally wrong? Two levels of analysis will bring to you. One, I think it's about how you make your own citizen life on risk, right? Understand that all these citizens, they didn't even consent to do at the first place, and you as a country, who actually force them to do, I think it's very harmful, right? Number one, we're talking about these areas after their training, right? I think these areas like where the duty at coastal life, the duty at seashore, or maybe serve in a war, like for example Israel. I think this is superly harmful and it's very harmful in the end of the day, when they even don't consent to do and they have the risk of dying, right? But secondly, right, I think it's also about the birth lottery, right? Understand that countries who use conscription, right, are those countries who normally lack of resources, right? I think these type of countries, I think these type of people who unfortunately is being born in them is really harmful in the end of the day, when they even don't consent to, when they even need to risk their own life. I don't think that's a smart choice. But thirdly, it's about how you affect citizens, family, and friends, right? Understand, if I'm a father, I knew my son is undergoing conscription, when he had the risk of dying, when he had the risk of breaking his bone. I think it's really harmful in the end of the day, right? You make citizens, family, and friends very harmful, and that's not what we stand for. But secondly, it's about the second level analysis about how you lose happiness, right? Understand that this whole entire conscription process is around 15 to 20 years. I think these are years where you can actually gain happiness as a citizen, right? You can pursue a better education, maybe in a college or in a university. Number two, I think you can even create sustainable jobs at this age. And this like some sort of happiness where you can actually get and see. I think it's also about how you can actually start a family at this age, and I think it's very harmful, right? So why is it harmful, right? Understand there are all these times where you actually can spend with your family and friends, where all these times you can actually go and pursue for your dream, go and achieve your goals, right? I think in the end of the day, when you have to do tiring shift, we have the risk of dying, where you're already tiring the whole entire time. I think it's very harmful, and that's not what we stand for, right? So the comparative is very simple. Understand on side government, when we allow personal happiness towards these citizens, and understand the conscription period is so long, I don't think that's very smart. But before that, yes. Yes, it's true about this military, but I'll explain later, right? But secondly, right, I think number one, you already have your own military forces between it. I think that's fine enough. They need to explain to us why their military forces are not enough, and I think it's fine. But secondly, it's on the point of how you brainwash your citizens, right? So number one, I think I think when you're using the method of conscription, you're creating a mindset to these citizens about that only by taking the service, only by fighting in a war, only by doing this duty, you can only be patriotic. That's the only way to get patriotism to the fullest extent. I think that's very harmful, right? How does this look like? I think it looks like China. When they indoctrinate every single of their citizen that China is only the best country in the world and you should not trust others. I think it's really harmful. In the end of the day, right? Why? I think you're born hatred, right? I think this hatred looks like when you only trust your country, you don't go to other countries for traveling, you don't trust the culture of other countries, you discriminate other countries. I think that's very harmful in the end of the day. And secondly, about how you really don't accept international relations, right? I think international relations, such as the UN, such as the EU, I don't think because now through this conscription, you're so nationalistic, you totally ignore the fact about other relations. You think only your country is the best, only by you yourself serving the country is the best, and I don't think that's a smart choice. But before that, sure.
So I think there are many nations, foreign nations, still travel, still respect other countries. Why is that everyone should be present?
I think at a point when we're being forced to undergo this service, I think at the same time your country also wants you to do it as the purpose to really serve for your country, right? I think at the same time they also indoctrinate you about how your country is always the best, and then because they want to motivate you to be the army forces itself, I think it's very harmful. But thirdly, it's also about how you reject international relations, right? It's about how you lose a lot of job opportunities for refugees, right? Understand now your citizens are so toxic, when they're so nationalistic, when they don't care about others. I don't think about refugees from poor countries like Bangladesh or maybe India. When they come to your country itself, I don't think that you will actually treat them well. I think you will screw them off, and then that creates a very harmful situation where you lose a lot of job opportunities for them through conscription, right? So the comparative is very simple. Understand the set of government. At least when we reduce the amount, when we tell you that patriotism doesn't come from being an army itself, I think it's very a better smart choice, right? So I think what did I tell you today? Firstly, I think it's about happiness, where you can actually gain as a citizen. I think this happiness is very important. It's very special on the side of government. Understand on your side, happiness don't occur because every time you have to take tiring shift, your family have to be worried and concerned of your state every day. And secondly, I told you about how how you indoctrinate these citizens of the country, and I think that's very harmful in the end of the day. If you want a world where your country serves you the best, go inside government.
Yes, yeah, I would now like to call leader of opposition. Yes. As much as serving your government and serving your country sounds like a really benevolent thing on the side of opposition, it actually is a facade. It means serving the most oppressive regimes that exist in status quo and constantly being subservient to the most oppressive individuals and telling yourself that your priorities in life are less important as opposed to keeping oppressive individuals in power. The first thing I'll do is characterize this debate, which I think was severely lacking. So I don't think they can take this debate by telling you things like Singapore or Malaysia has conscription. That's not how it works. Countries with mandatory conscription look like countries like Israel, Syria, countries like Afghanistan, or even countries like South and North Korea. Countries where they have oppressive dictatorships, or they want their citizens to always believe that they are less important as opposed to keeping those governments in power. Before that, several rebuttals. The first thing they tell you is that it only activates the point at which you have national emergencies. I think the first response is that on your world, governments are far more likely to use violence or even instigate wars or crimes because they know that they have that military force behind them. The point at which they can't indoctrinate individuals is they are more likely to not fight that fight. It means using more diplomatic manners. If South Korea knows that they can't win that battle anymore, they are likely to use more diplomatic manners. But the second thing, if it's true that they are a small country, they're going to lose the war anyway. I don't see why to force people to die. If it's true that Afghanistan is going to lose to the US, why is it true that to force individuals to die anyways? Because under our world, both sides will lose on both worlds they will lose the battle. At least people don't die. But secondly, I think they're less likely to even want to instate that violence or fight back if they know that they can't to do so. Use more diplomatic means. The second thing they say is there's only 3 to 5 years. That's a cop out. I don't think it's fair. And I know that it's very assumptuous for you to say it's 10 years. So let's debate the middle ground. Even if it's 5, 6, or 7 years, it's still a large amount of time that individuals have to sacrifice, especially when you're young. That's the time that you use to get an education or build your life. You force individuals to strip that away. The last thing they say is that brainwashing happens on both worlds. Excuse me, it's a scale. On your world, what individuals own instinct is to prioritize themselves. The point at which they are willing to sacrifice everything because they prioritize their country is that large amounts of indoctrination and brainwashing within that conscription. The fact that South Korea tells people that nothing else is more important as opposed to just keeping our regime in power or fighting North Korea means that individuals are indoctrinated far more. China or Israel invites resentment towards other countries to make individuals constantly pumped up and join your conscription. The first argument on the principle and why conscription in general is principally unfair. The first level to this is the birth lottery. Oftentimes, just because these individuals are born into unfortunate circumstances, they have to go through and sacrifice large amounts of things which mean a lot to them. I think it's unfair to force individuals just because they were born in those countries, whereas other individuals can prioritize and get rights to a lot of other things like education, things like finding love or relationships, or things that matter the most to them, just because these people were born in those countries. And it's unfair and disproportionate for you to punish these individuals due to the principle of birth lottery. The second thing is that I think forcefully making people sacrifice their lives is principally abhorrent. Recognize that even though you go into conscription, the chances that a war may start any day, you are at the forefront and you have to do those things. The fact that you have to sacrifice your life and you never consented to it is principally unfair. And recognize this is most prevalent in undemocratic states. The fact that in democratic states and Malaysia, you consent to being in the military. In these countries, they say it's national service, but it's national service with no consent. You come up without any consent and you have to forcefully give up your life, as opposed to countries where you actually are democratic. Just because these individuals who born in undemocratic states, I don't think it's fair for you to place this burden upon them. On our, these are individuals who can access better education. But here's how it's better on our. If it's true that on your, when governments focus a lot on conscription and you have to do that conscription anyways, then let's like to invest in things like youth employment or invest in education or good jobs for their people because they're going to go into conscription anyways. On our, at least they're more likely to have those initiatives because they know that people need jobs. On your world, conscription is always something to fall back on. If I move on, yes.
So, conscription is not a full-time job. It's still to get jobs to propel the economy. So in our world, it's a lot better.
So correct, if individuals spend like their most useful time when they can go to uni, but on your world, they go to conscription, they lose out their uni time, they less likely get a good job, they can't migrate, your economy even fails. And moving on to my second argument, how you forever put in these countries in bad economies. Recognize that for economy to grow, individuals need to be able to access education or maybe have startups or things like this. These things don't function on your world when even as citizens, there's recent studies to show that their economy fails because individuals sacrifice important amounts of their life to do things that don't benefit the economy. If they serve their national service, they are less likely to go to uni or have startups or start up those businesses or work in general. And if you lose out that prime time of your life, it's very difficult to recuperate. But secondly, if it's true that you have to go into the military, the chances of you dying is very high. The fact that you can't build a family or relationships of things you really wanted to after that is also hard. You need to deal with that and tell me why it's more important. It's proper to say they can build it after national service. A lot of individuals lose their lives and they're oftentimes very traumatized as well during national service. The individuals were never ready to suddenly be put at the forefront. The PTSD that they face or the stress or that large amounts of pressure put upon them is also very damaging, and a lot of them end up being depressed because of that immense amount of pressure. That's the third argument on how the brainwashing becomes far worse. Recognize if it's true that they have to constantly brainwash individuals. These are individuals who have inbred resentment towards other countries because to make these individuals join conscription, you need to tell them that everything else is not important, and how China tells its citizens that you are able to sacrifice everything else just for the concept of national security. These are individuals who are blinded by everything else and believe that your state is always right because they are indoctrinated towards conscription. If you ban conscription, that harms much lesser on the side of government. If it's true that these are individuals who are brainwashed under your world, they are less likely to accept or be very nationalistic, which is extremely harmful. Extreme nationalism harms things like acceptance towards other individuals, like listening to the United Nations or listening to the West, because during conscription you're also indoctrinated that the West is Western imposition that's going to harm you. That's why you need to serve your country and fight against that. Individuals in extreme nationalism with them are less likely to have inborn resentment and hatred, which is extremely harmful in the way in which the country progresses. If you want a world that's constantly divided, where countries always know that they can sacrifice their people, constantly get violence, and individuals lose their fundamental rights just because they were born in a less democratic country or a poorer country, don't decide the opposition.
Okay, so I would now like to call the deputy leader of opposition.
Before I get to substantial my speech, just three main responses to the entire crux of their case. So firstly, they bring up the point that smaller countries will lose anyway, therefore there's no necessity for these countries who have this so-called bad birth lottery to invest in conflict. I have several responses to this. First of which is, if I'm a larger country and I'm going against a smaller country who only has a smaller standing army, there's still less of an incentive to attack the country, the point at which ordinary citizens are adequately prepared to defend themselves against oppression. So for example, if I'm in a country in which there's a terrorist attack that's imminent about to happen, I'm less likely going to conduct the attack at the point at which I recognize that civilians on the ground can protect their homes, they can protect their families. When every civilian on the ground is adequately prepared to stop myself from an invasion, there are still disincentives that exist, and these incentives are beneficial, especially when there's an asymmetry of power between countries, because note that countries who have civilians that are adequately able to defend themselves can often protect themselves against larger militaries because of the way in which war works, which is that you need to go from place to place, and if there's more hostility facing to you, and there's more ability for you to defend yourself from place to place, you're able to protect yourself a lot better. So the disincentive that they claim does exist in our house to a lot stronger degree. But secondly, talk about how there's going to be this terrible nationalism, that everyone's going to become brainwashed and indoctrinated. So firstly, I think that argument applies to a minority of countries, a very small number of countries who are incredibly antagonistic and are absolute dictatorships. But even in those absolute dictatorships, I think there are other outcomes that will happen, which is firstly, these absolute dictatorships will, if there's no conscription, will just spend more on building an actual military. They will increase money spent on building up an army, which detracts from them being able to build up jobs and economically benefit their people anyway. So I think in terms of economics, I think even on our side of the house, because at the very least, even those worst countries would have to spend less money on conscription if they use conscription rather than they build up standing armies of their own. If you claim that they're as bad as you claim them to be. But secondly, I think that in a large number of countries, like which have the draft, like the USA, like for example, like Singapore, Malaysia, South Korea, I don't think there's this inbred fear that you need to deny international conventions, that you need to hate other countries just to join the military. Sure, there is rhetoric that you need to love your country, to prioritize your country over your own life as an individual, but I don't think that then translates to you hating other countries, especially considering that the world is incredibly interconnected, and you being incredibly antagonistic with other countries detriments your own ability to survive as a nation in the world, especially since they consider that these countries are already small and poor to begin with. So I don't see why you would have this extremely like anti-other country rhetoric. And then they will say, oh, you'll be less tolerable to refugees. We don't see how that works. We think if a country is like generally anti-refugee, they just have policies that prevent you from coming to the country. We don't see like why like that's such a big contention. But moving on to my substantives, I think that the benefits of conscription, and this is very important, are only able to be visualized by a state or a larger actor as opposed to the individuals on the ground who wish to enlist the army. What do I mean by this? So what I mean is, so firstly, I want to talk about like this whole 10-year thing, right? Yeah, and one thing that is, we'll say like, let's say it's 7 years or so, like it's a long time. Firstly, we need to recognize that the government isn't going to conscript everyone at the point in which they can like only gain jobs or only gain families, because obviously the government wants their state to like sustain itself. So I can't just say, oh, everyone conscript, they won't be able to get jobs, they won't be able to get families. That's not how it works, because you need a state to be able to survive at the end of the day. So they need to be a bit more reasonable as to when this conscription occurs. Because if it doesn't occur like time when everyone can only get jobs and only get families, then there will be no jobs and no families in places with conscription. So I don't understand what that means. But even if it is like a reasonably long time, we say that while a long time may be difficult, you may have to go through like strenuous training, the benefits you get when you do have a national emergency, especially in these countries are poor countries who are likely to be invaded by their larger neighbors, who are likely to be invaded by, yes, Western powers we talked about. These countries, these individuals on the ground don't recognize the larger benefit because they aren't able to see the scope of the threat that faces them. So individuals on the ground aren't able to see what happens if, like, for example, natural disasters. They aren't able to visualize that future because more often they consider about like the things that happen within their daily lives. They're less able to lay down themselves or protect themselves from the face of others because they don't see those other lives as important. And this is detrimental because it overall harms the country and the point of this country is weak or poor. And that's like not just talk about going to war. Like even when it comes to things like natural disasters and having individuals who are adequately trained and adequately prepared to rescue people in these instances, or when there's a terrorist attack and when a hotel is blockaded, people who have national service experience are more able to manage the situation and control the crowds. When there's a massive fire or like a factory collapse, they need to rescue workers from the rubble. These are all instances where the police may not necessarily be enough, or when like normal security force may not necessarily be enough to protect these most vulnerable individuals in these countries. Which is why conscription is so important, because it gives the average citizen power to gain power, to take control of the situation when there's a necessity to. I think that that's a thing that they don't recognize when entering this, but when the benefits materialize, they are incredibly valuable. Secondly, we think that like we need to be able to protect countries at the point in which, like, so they talk about like how countries are going to build up their military because they're trying to they want to build up the military, they want to be incredibly aggressive. Wait, I'll take you in a short while. We think that if these countries are absolute dictators, we'll take it at their best. We've already shown you how in democracies like conscription isn't really that bad and how like it allows you to protect yourself from emergency. But even in absolute dictatorships, we would argue that in those kinds of countries it is better for people to have conscription because at the very least, number one, they're able to protect themselves because they're more likely to be prone to conflict anyways. So civilians on the ground are still able to defend themselves if like the dictator decides to go to war anyway. But number two, we think that even in those absolute dictatorships, if the civilians get fed up of their government, they're still more likely to bear arms and take control of the situation if they need be. So we don't see how having civilians who are trained in military, experience is relevant. I'll take it.
So sure, Israel can have people, but US has bombs. North Korea has nuclear weapons. They're gonna die anyways. On our world, they're likely to surrender, not with initiate violence. On your world, perpetual violence and perpetual death.
So firstly, I think when you talk about like, for example, like not everyone wants to go straight to nuclear weapons because when you use nuclear weapons, you escalate in an incredibly massive conflict. And it depends on the objectives as to what you want to achieve, which is why no one actually uses nuclear weapons. They're more used as deterrence. But what we think is when we have people, we don't escalate violence, because violence is inevitable in your situation that you talk about. In the worst of cases we talk about, violence will be inevitable because leaders will always want to go to war. But it's whether the citizens within those countries are able to protect themselves when that war does come. And in the world which you ban conscription, these people have no means of protecting themselves because they don't enlist in national service. They don't have the adequate training to mobilize themselves in terms of in times of disaster. So even if they lose the war, at least they're able to die fighting or die protecting their family, or at least they don't die in defenses or die in Utah. We think it's incredibly unrealistic for you to assume that these people are going to be oh, we just surrender, the other country wants to invade them, just be okay, you surrender, yeah, it's great. We think what's more likely is there's still going to be violence that ensues. But at least on our side, people fight back. And the ability for the citizens to fight back is what prevents that violence from starting in the first place. It is what stops you from being able to, it's what not just allow you from attacking other countries, it's what allows you to protect yourself. And for all those reasons, we are very, very proud.
Yes, I would now like to invite Government Wing.
Hello. So I think the first thing I'm going to do in my speech is tell you why Jit's speech is the most uncontentious speech in today's debate. So the main crux, the main argument that you want to bring up is that natural disasters and this help and training also helps you. So first, you can always have education on how you survive yourself in natural disasters. But number two, and trans analysis has shown that Japan has to go through compulsory training for natural disasters. This is so much better than spending 5, 6 or 7 years in military and forcing you not being able to do what you love and not being able to do what you want to do. I don't think that it's worth it just because you want to protect yourself from natural disasters. Because there's many other factors that you can do it from. So I have two issues for you today. The first, the quality of life of these individuals, and number two, the fighting of these wars and fights. All other rebuttals are integrated inside. So you need to recognize that when you go into war, you go into this conscription, maybe you don't fight the war, maybe you don't die immediately, maybe it does happen. But I think it's already very bad because you stay in camps and you have to train every day. This means you're not being able to do what you love, not being able to spend time with people that you love, not being able to be around people that love you and people that you love. I think this just means that you cannot feel the love and happiness that you can get under the side of government. I think this looks like individuals can't be able to feel love or be able to feel happiness under the side of opposition because you're continuously having to go through training and continuously having to stay in camps and not being able to see people that you love. Sure, it's maybe just 5 years and you can do things after that, but I think that's 5 years of continuous suffering that you can opt out of in the side of opposition. And also another clarification that we also have military under our side. It isn't just as much people under their side. So maybe we all have 500 people inside, but I think we still have 50 people, and I think the harm that you want to bring up is also kind of mitigated on the outside. But the second thing we'll tell you, and the main issue, is about fighting this war and fights. You need to recognize that even though Afghanistan has 1,000 more troops than US, they can just fire a bomb in and therefore they'll kill all those troops. I think you need to recognize that the weaker states and weaker countries will always lose the fight no matter what. No matter how many troops you make them fight with, they will lose because they don't have significant resources like nuclear weapons or big bombs in order to kill other individuals. So maybe what Jit said was right about how it becomes a deterrent, but I think it's far easier to use the nuclear weapons to attack your individuals, especially when you want the fight to continuously grow. What do we mean by this? When you have many countries that have different troops of individuals that want to win the war and want to win the fight, is when your fight is continuously wrong. Comparatively, even the side that is most probably going to lose surrenders that fight and gives up. I think that's a far better and far strategic way that we will take, and we don't mind losing that fight to begin with. I think losing the most amount of life is the main contentious argument in today's debate. I think they lose a lot more lives because they aren't able to protect those individuals, because you force those individuals to go to war, and you force those individuals to go through all these hard times that they didn't consent to, and you make them forced to go through it. I think if side of opposition wants to prolong the fight, you hurt the most majority of individuals under your side of the house, and you can't get the benefits from it. But before I continue, sure.
So I think prolonged conflict is better than conflict where civilians are slaughtered in camps.
Okay, I don't think that happens. Like, people are educated, they want to go through invasion, and they also already have military, right? I don't think that people will slaughter these individuals and kill those individuals, because, like, on a comparative, I think it's still better under the side of government when you do have these troops that will attack you, even if, like, even because they consented to it and they'll do it sincerely for the country. But more importantly, I think if you don't have when you don't have this when you don't have the conscription thing, is when it's more likely for you to resort to more meaningful and diplomatic means. This looks like you talking about your problems and explaining the problems to every other country in the world, hoping to resort in a win-win situation towards both countries. You cannot get that under your side of the world, because every time another country comes in and tries to attack or tries to negotiate with you, you always fight back with the nationalistic values that Maya and Nietzsche already proved to you in both their speeches. I think that's when it's harmful, when you can't negotiate with other states and other countries, and you can't get the diplomatic means that you want to get at the end of the day. I think it's far better under the side of the government. But if I continue, yeah.
So I think that actually, I think negotiation will still be the go-to option, because it's still better than assuming it was will still have the backbenches. They'll still prioritize diplomacy first. I don't see why giving service law.
Okay, maybe they will go through negotiation because they don't want to lose their weapons. But when you have nationalistic values, is when you're always going to try to retaliate and want to fight back. So you don't want to give up on the negotiation under the side of opposition, because you're continuously indoctrinated when you're a kid to love your country and fight for your country, no matter what happens, no matter who comes to your way. I think when that happens is when you're less likely going to care about your negotiations that other people want to bring towards you. Is when you're more likely just going to fight back with all the weapons and all the troops that you have, risking all those lives of these individuals who never actually consented to this constriction. I think it's far better on the side of government, when you do have sincere soldiers that can attack, when you have soldiers that will actually be there for you when you need it. Maybe the quantity of soldiers, maybe they win on the quantity of soldiers that they get under their side, but I think the quality of the soldiers and how much they're willing to fight for their country and the correct decisions that they make is something that you only can get under the side of government. I think when the world, when it's easier for you to resolve fight through diplomatic means, I think we take the debate and we'll take that issue. But the next thing we'll talk about is that why conscription itself is a bad thing. So number one, we already told you why it's principally and morally abhorrent. When you force another individual and strip the freedom of choice away from that individual, you do not give that individual another purpose to go away. Because recognize these individuals don't want to risk their life fighting for the war, or just being in that constriction in the first place. I think when you strip these rights of individuals, and don't give them the freedom of choice, it's very harmful under the side of government, under the side of opposition. I think in a world where you get to stop war faster and you get the actual benefits that both sides wanted to talk about, go with side government.
I would now like to invite opposition.
Okay, so side government today have committed two very big mistakes in this debate. Firstly, what they are against today is brainwashing military, which is the wrong perception of how does a conscription look like. Secondly, they actually think that every conscription will look like a dictatorship and a military orientated country. So actually, what does a conscription look like? In a conscription, they actually learn military commands, they learn about the use of weapons, they learn about the evacuation routes, and they learn how to engage, come together and evacuate as a crowd. And the years of conscription actually vary. So it is not fair to just say that it's confirmed 10 years. Because for example, in Malaysia, it's only 3 months. In Singapore, it's like around 1 year. So it varies and they cannot give us an absolute value, assuming that it will stop our economic and whatsoever. So today, what they are trying to do is to cherry pick the hardcore hardcore military countries to compare about conscription, which is extremely unfair because we already told you there are so many countries who have conscription and doesn't have the harm that materialized in the small world that they illustrated to us. But assuming that what they say is true and is prominent around the whole world, they still lose this debate. Why? Because we completely engage in their best case scenario. So what's their best case scenario? Okay, before that, I would like to say that another mistake they have committed throughout this debate is that they characterize how is it bad with a conscription, but they didn't characterize how does it look like in the world without a conscription. So this is what comparison I am going to do in my speech. Now, first, let us say that assuming every country with conscription has a hardcore military. So most countries with a hardcore military function, they tend to like to engage in wars. For example, Afghanistan, Iran. And they are saying that it is unfair for the soldiers to risk their life in the war because they lose their happiness. But on the other side, although there is war going to be happen anyways, because it's not the conscription that want to go to war, it is the state that assign them to war. So even without a conscription, what will happen is the state, more often than not, they already very military invested into the weapon technology. They use the technology to engage in wars. And then what's the comparison between weapon-orientated and soldiers-orientated is that soldiers have feelings. We tend to hold back when we are using human lives as a stakeholder in that war. So that is our comparison. And even if the soldiers are, and even if you don't look at this comparison, if the people who are constantly engaging in war have complete military information and know how to react when it comes in terms of national emergency, it will still be better off for themselves as an individual because they know that which military command signals what is going to happen in the country so they can respond accordingly. So we can see that although they say that it is bad to engage in a war, which we all actually recognize, but they didn't compare how does it look like in a war without a conscription happening. Everyone will be panicking, and then the individuals will actually put their lives more at stake compared to a war with conscription. So let us engage in the other arguments. Birth lottery. They are saying that those countries with conscription are more or less lack of resources, therefore they need to resort to conscriptions. But what we are trying to say is that yeah, they are lack of resources, so they don't have the necessary money to defend themselves in the borders. That is why they actually even need more of this kind of military information. So at times when their national borders are attacked, they at least know how to defend themselves, they at least know how to react. So for that, it's better off. And then secondly, they are telling us that the small country is going to lose out anyway. So are you saying that because you think that the small countries will definitely going to lose, then you'll just surrender and say that fine, without conscription it's the same anyways, the country will die. So this is what we get from the government, but we are saying that actually in a world where there is a ban of conscription, the small countries will lose out even more. Why? Hold on a second. Why? Because the countries who are more engaging with war, the country that would like to initiate war, they are more military invested and they have the weapons and they have the technology. And these countries with lack of resources, they don't have this kind of military weapons. Therefore, if you want to put up a weapon fight, these countries will lose out even more compared to soldier fight, isn't it? Yes.
So what is that the smaller countries surrendering because they know there's no one to fight, or being able that they can defend themselves but inevitably losing and people dying without any consent?
Okay, so according to their world, what they want is that, okay, a world with a strong military weapon technology, so they should actually dominate the world because their weapon is stronger than everybody else, and then in their world, ideally, they don't want anyone to put up a fight so that the world can be like unitized into under one nation. This is how their world looks like. But we still think that it is better to have that nationalism in our blood to defend our border and to respect ourselves as a country, which leads to their third argument, which is the nationalization indoctrination. So what they are saying is actually assuming the dictatorship, which is very, very small portion in our world. And if, what we want to say is, even if there is no conscription, this will still happen anyways, because they'll find ways like through education in order to indoctrinate. So the root of a problem is not conscription, but rather is the mindset of the state themselves. But compare this scenario with a scenario where there is a ban with conscription, it will be worse, because these countries, they like to engage in war, and they have more weapons, and when they engage in war, their citizens are not secured with the essential knowledge, and they will even lose out more. So even in the worst case, our case still wins. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right? And store everything. No, like I'm looking right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're taking a toilet break.
Did you guys drink?
I think it's good. It's cool.
Waiting for Hana. Hana and fine.
I save a lot of souls.
Maya sana.
And justice.
Okay, I would now like to invite reply speaker from side opposition. Here.
So I think there are three main issues in today's debate. The first is the issue of are individuals protected? Are small countries actually able to defend themselves? The second is the socio-economic implications of conscription and what that means for people on the ground within these countries. And the third is this idea of love that it's a very small issue around president. So firstly, on the protection of individuals, I think they severely undermine the idea that smaller countries can actually defend themselves from conscription. So for example, the whole reason why the Vietnam War was so difficult and so pressing for the USA was because if you have civilians who are able to defend themselves in their pockets, you're still find a lot more difficult. It still acts as a deterrent to completely engage the war. That's why America left anyway. So I think that there are numerous examples, or even in the we also give countless other examples of how if a terrorist is attacking your hotel, for example, which is like a country-on-country conflict, that still becomes a necessity for you to have that conscription because you're still able to defend yourself against things like terrorists, against things like, for example, a factory collapse or a factory fire, against things like natural disasters. Yeah, maybe some countries might have some degree of training, but it's not incredibly adequate if you don't have things like adequate police forces to do what in these poorer countries. So in a world in which the birth lottery is disadvantaged against you, you need to be adequately prepared to defend yourself against this form of damage that can occur to you. And any form of defense is better. Even if you take it with their best case, like the country, people still die, and you say it's still better, at least you die with the ability to protect yourself, and at least you die with dignity, able to protect your country, protect your family. Because it's highly unlikely in a conflict between two very dictatorial states that people are just going to surrender and accept to move on with their lives. If anything, they just live a life of suffering under a new regime. So rather than being able to die and protect themselves and live with honor. Secondly, on the socio-economic implications, I think we clearly would the economic implications of the landslide. Because if they claim the state is incredibly bad, then it's better for us economically because these aren't full-time soldiers, so obviously government can spend more money on other things. But if you assume that the state is a regular and conventional state, then the socio-economic applications of conscription are a lot better because now you have to invest a lot less in being able to buff up your military, and you can rely on the fact that you have civilians who are adequately trained to protect your country as opposed to spending money on your defense. I think that's beneficial economically. But socially, they talk about people are going to lose life, they're going to lose happiness, they're going to lose jobs. Firstly, I don't think you're going to conscript to the point in which you can't get a job afterwards because then you lose your workforce and you lose your population. So the government isn't obviously going to do that because the government needs to sustain its economy. Secondly, you want to conscript so that you lose the ability to have a family because if that is true, then people with countries with conscription won't have families, which is also untrue in outside the house. So therefore, the most reasonable thing which we can take from them is that they lose some degree of happiness. And we're willing to say that that happiness can be traded off if it means that you're able to protect yourself and protect your country. Because after all, if your country is an imminent threat to death or an imminent threat to danger, these are places like Afghanistan, and these are places like South Korea, which is imminent threat to North Korea. How valuable is that short period of happiness if your country is in constant threat of invasion? If no one conscripted and the army is too weak and you do get overrun, you do get defeated, what benefits that all the happiness you actually have? You may as well sacrifice the short-term happiness because you're more able to protect yourself in the future. Because these are dangers which I said extensively in my speech are dangers that civilians cannot speculate, which is why we need mandatory conscription within these places. These are not issues that civilians can actually speculate on their own. These are things that people can actually see on their own, which is why it's better for the state to take control in the situation. So I think to conclude, I think we win on the issue of love and family because we're showing that it's a worthy trade-off, especially considering the imminent danger these countries face without the conscription. Secondly, I think we protect the most individuals because we allow these countries to have some form of defense, while these countries don't necessarily provide any form of defense on the ground for these individuals. And third, we did socio-economic implications. We clearly showed that for even in the worst of states, at least if people are conscripted, they're able to defend themselves. They're still able to protect themselves against the Ukrainian oppressor. And that protection is something that you lose on your side of the house. And for all of those reasons, I'm very, very proud of this.
I wish it was true that on the side of opposition, that oppressive governments care about their people so much that they want to protect them, hence they force them to join into compulsory military service, where they're literally on the forefront of their country's security and have to come to the terms that they may have to sacrifice their lives or time is so important to them. Two issues in this debate. A, the principle of why
Forcing individuals to join conscription is inherently harmful and is inherently immoral, especially because these are individuals who never consented to it and because they were unfortunate enough to be born in the most vulnerable circumstances, hence they have to face these harms. But secondly, on the outcomes of this, and there's 3 levels: A, in terms of preparation; second, in terms of economic benefits; and lastly, in terms of socio-economic benefits. The principle, coming out from the start of government, we told you that because of the principle of birth lottery, because these are individuals who never consented to be born in countries where it's a dictatorship or where they have to join this conscription, they don't deserve to be forced to spend a lot of time and sacrifice time that they spent for themselves, or even their safety, or the stress or the trauma of being in conscription. They don't deserve it, and because they never consented to it, you shouldn't have that. The second thing we told you is that the right to education, or the right to live your life the way you want to. Oftentimes in countries like Switzerland, there have been studies to show that a lot of individuals have to sacrifice doing startups, having businesses, or even doing things that mean a lot to them because that time was taken up doing conscription. We had no response for them, and it means principally unfair for you to intervene in the lives of individuals, especially because they never chose to have their lives taken away. On the second issue, on outcomes, the first thing that the main crux of their case, and the main crux of their case is about preparation. The first response I have to this is that either ways, if it's true that they were very convenient to tell you about natural disasters or take easy way out like fires. I think they can still have compulsory training like fire drills for natural disasters, which still happen in the world of government. You don't have to force individuals to be the ones to save everyone or force individuals to fight that war, because that isn't the case you are defending. But it's that in terms of wars, they say you'll be more prepared to fight that war. Exactly the point at which your dictators know that their citizens are ready to fight, or they have large amount of ability to fight that war, they are more likely to instate that war or try to fight that war to begin with. On our world, the chance of dictators or even countries who know that they don't have individuals to fight, who know that they're going to lose that war anyway because they don't have that critical mass, are likely to opt into more diplomatic processes, or just surrender that fight, and at least individuals don't die. On your world, when you try to fight and inevitably lose, you sacrifice individuals who never wanted to lose their lives instead in hopes of them being nationalistic, and you sacrifice individuals who never consented to that harm. On the issue of socioeconomic impacts, right? We told you that they literally brainwash individuals, that they indoctrinate individuals, that they make them resent other forces. So in Afghanistan, through conscription, your government is able to indoctrinate individuals to reject UN, to reject American forces. All this means your citizens in general, you can never overthrow dictatorship. Even through that true conscription, they're able to brainwash these individuals to protect the nation, which usually means protecting the current government or individuals in charge of conscription. Means that you have citizens who reject other forces, citizens who reject the West, or generally are very nationalistic to believe everything the government says. And this is an extreme harm, especially if you're talking about countries like Israel. If through conscription, people can inbred that hatred towards Palestine in the minds of young Israelis to tell them that their life is not important, that fighting that war and winning that war is more important. That's the harm on the side of opposition that they were never willing to engage with. On 2 issues, proud to propose.
Thank you. Thank you to both teams. You can now come to the floor and shake hands, and you'll get your results.
Where are we going now?
All right, let's give them a round of applause.